podcast discusses a non-stop, thrilling adventure fantasy series set in the brutal and competitive world of a military college for dragon riders, which includes potential spoilers for all published material. This episode includes elements regarding relationships, including queer platonic relationships, discussions of sexuality and romantic attraction, sex, and explicit language. Listeners who may be sensitive to these elements, cross the parapet at your own risk and prepare to enter the Wingreaders. Welcome to the Wingreaders, where we deep dive into the Empyrean series chapter by chapter, theorize and overanalyze. I'm Abby.
I'm John.
Cassie.
And today we are doing something a little different. It has been quite a while. We actually finished up our recording of chapter 24 just a few minutes ago. We had a little bit of extra time. And so we're going to do a little bonus episode where we just kind of catch up and talk books and talk different things that have been on our minds. And honestly, there's been so much going on, you guys. So this is, I think, kind of necessary.
Oh, so
Yes.
necessary.
Necessary.
Necessary. So it has been a little while since we've posted an episode. This is Abby, in case you don't know voices. I feel like our voices are different enough that they should know the difference between mine and Cassie's, but who knows?
See,
But
my issue is when I listen to podcasts, I can tell the voices are different, but I never know what name they go with.
You don't remember, yes. So this is Abby. Hi, Abby here. Um, so I currently do all of our editing, and I had a couple of setbacks where just boys were not going to bed, and I lost a whole file when I was done with it. And so just kind of some demoralizing things around that. And we started having a discussion of like, okay, how can we kind of share this burden, because it was becoming a lot. And then also we've just all been really busy. I mean, and I don't think the three of us will ever not be busy. I don't think that's really in our nature.
Yeah, no.
But recently, first, I had both of my sons, their birthdays are a day apart, and so that was a big thing, and I always go way too hard for their parties, and so had a very, very lovely full of baked goods birthday party for them in October. But I have also been applying for grad school for psychology. I have, let me pull up my spreadsheet because I actually couldn't tell you how many off the top of my head at the moment. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 PhDs that I am applying to. 2 PsyDs, which are, it's a psychology doctorate that is more focused on clinical, like actually working with people instead of like research plus working with people. And then 3 master's programs. So I have been knee deep in filling out the application, sending reference folks their stuff that they need to do, trying to write a personal statement. It's been a lot. I'm really stressed out. And a lot of it too for me is the fear of rejection is just very strong. So I get kind of paralyzed when I'm actually like trying to do the things.
Nothing is more terrifying than getting all of it all together on that online form and then actually hitting the submit button at the end and being like, I did it. I hit the submit,
Yep.
But now I have to live with the fact that I did it and I hit the submit.
Yep. And there's no going back. There's no changing it. There's no improving it. There's, and it feels very vulnerable to basically like put everything out there and be like, this is me. Do you want me? So, and it doesn't help that psych programs are incredibly competitive. My number one hopeful takes 3 students out of about 700 applicants.
Mm.
The PhD that I'm probably or the program that I'm most likely to get into takes like 8 out of 300 students. So, yeah, it's stressful. I really, really want to get my doctorate. And if I don't get into any doctorate programs, hopefully I will get into a master's program and I can revisit doctorate in the future. So even worst case scenario won't be terrible, but I, God, guys, I'm so anxious like 24/7. Just like, it's so much. It's so much. And John, I know you know. And Cassie, I mean, you applied for master's program and did your master's program several years ago. So I know you guys know, but it's just like, oh my God, it's so much.
Mhm.
It is insane.
So yeah, that's been me.
While you've been dealing with that, I have again restarted my PhD program. We have gone into the second year. I talked about this again. We don't know when this is going to come out, so I don't know when in the battle briefs this got talked about versus when we'll be airing this.
Hmm.
I did pass my comprehensive exams at the end of my first year, so I am successfully
Woo!
into the next stage of my program. But now it's a very different changing of gears where like last year was very book material and very prescribed material. Now we're going into seminars that are more an introduction to specific fields. And so the idea is like most of these professors have gone through and curated a series of papers that we read and then are throwing more recent papers at us that we're reading. And so I'm reading so many articles right now, so many academic articles, and that's going to be the rest of my career. I need to just get over it and accept it. But it's such a shift from like reading dense microeconomic theory textbooks to, okay, and now we're going to go look at how electronic health record systems dictate who you get or referred to as for specialist care. Like, way out there. I am still over on the West Coast, kind of away from everybody. But at least my foot ain't broken.
Yeah.
So take it as you will.
Honestly, I'm kind of drawing a blank on what I've even been doing with my life. Because it's just been, I feel like there's always so much stuff going on, but I'm also like, since it's late fall and it's cold and dark, I'm like already starting to like withdraw and like try to be cozy and not do stuff. I'm still doing stuff,
Mm.
but I'm like mentally trying, like not doing stuff. Like the outdoor, other than we may or may not install our gutters before Kara comes home. Um, like there hasn't been outdoor stuff. It's been a lot of inside stuff. I've been doing more like mending and crafting. I've unfortunately gone to several vintage fairs. Um, I guess the big news right now is just that Kara's gone on her trip and is going to be gone for several more weeks still.
Really?
And so I've got like this kind of mental list of things we need to fix around the house before she gets back and needs to use them. And try not to let her plants die. More to the point of what I did want to talk about, I have gone straight from my super moody horror thriller vibe of October and September into I'm reading Christmas romances now.
Hey, Christmas romances are amazing. And I do have a recommendation for a queer one if you haven't read it yet.
I probably haven't because I was going through and making a list of like making my special winter romance TBR, and there are so many out there of all kinds.
Actually, I think that it might be in your home because Kara borrowed it for me and I haven't received it back.
Oh. Okay, well tell me what it is.
It is called Kiss Her Once for Me by Allison Cochran.
Okay.
And it is lovely, lovely. So premise is our main character, she hooked up with a woman on Christmas Eve, Christmas Day. And it was like magical and wonderful and like the best thing ever. And then she was ghosted.
Oh.
So now it's a year later, again on Christmas, and she works at a coffee shop. It's been a while since I've read this, so it's kind of fuzzy. But she works at a coffee shop, and I think the owner of the coffee shop comes in and he's all pissed off, and they have kind of like a cantankerous thing. And he's like, I won't get my inheritance unless I get married. And I think that she's getting like kicked out of her apartment or something. And so they're basically like, oh, let's get fake engaged. I'll come to your family's Christmas party tradition thing because I guess she doesn't have family. I don't remember. and
They never have
like
family in these
yeah,
stories.
and or like her family lives. I don't know. Anyways, I think it takes place in Portland or somewhere in
Yes, it's
Oregon.
Portland.
Aha. So, basically, she's like, we'll sell it. We'll make it seem like we're really in love. Turns out his sister is the woman that she had this one night affair with
Oh.
a year before, and sparks are still flying between them. So it is, but the sister thinks that she is legitimately engaged to her brother.
Right, right.
And they need to sell this. So, I really loved it. I really, really enjoyed it. So, highly
This
recommend.
reminds me a little bit of what I read last year.
I need to get better at tagging things like you do.
This is how I pass the time at work when I'm bored and don't want to do work. I get home and then I never do any of this, as I don't want to be on my computer at home. But I'm
Yeah.
happy to be on my phone at work. You know what? I should be going to my red pile.
While you're doing that, are you okay if I start chatting?
Yes.
Okay. I read a book. I don't think I talked about it on the pod. Maybe I did, but I definitely texted John about it. It is called The Entanglement of Rival Wizards. John, have you had the chance to listen to it yet?
I have not, no.
It is so good. It is academic plus wizardry, so like magic, plus enemies to lovers kind of vibes there. And it is so good. It's such a lighthearted, well, it's not lighthearted is the thing because it does, I mean, they kind of have some serious trauma going on, but it's like really sweet. I really loved it. Um, so that was very good. I read the Crimson Moth duology, which I really, really enjoyed. Basically, witches have all been like found and killed, but our main character is a witch and she is hiding in plain sight and there are witch hunters and she falls in love with a witch hunter, but she's also like pretending to fall in love with him to like get more information because she's trying to save other witches and smuggle them out. And so yeah, but it was very good. Cassie, did you find it?
I just found it.
Okay.
And it's actually I read it 2 years ago.
Mm.
It's called The Christmas Swap by Talia Samuels.
Okay.
It's a sapphic Christmas romance that's got fake dating for a different reason. I don't remember all of the details, but she ends up going to this guy's, I don't remember if they were her friend or how she knows this guy. But this guy, Ben, needs a fake girlfriend for Christmas, so she goes over to his house, and then the story is about her actually falling in love with his sister.
Love it. Love it.
And she might be bi, so there might be like some.
Love triangle.
It's not a love triangle, but there might be like some internalized like phobias in different directions.
Oh, okay, I see.
But I can't exactly remember because like, I read it 2 years ago. But I really liked it as a romance in general, and it also happened to be queer.
Mhm.
So there's definitely a lot of romances that drive me crazy.
I was going to ask really quick, Cassie. So you have a burning hatred for all miscommunication tropes. Does that include purposeful miscommunication?
Like lying?
Yes.
Yes.
Because like I want you to I really want you to read the Crazy Rich Asian series by Kevin Kwan, because one of the love stories, especially in the second and third books, so the movies barely ever like really angry at the movies. I could go on a 20-minute rant about this, or the movie. But like one of the main love characters, not the main character, but like a main character, does all of these things for this woman that he is still in love with from her childhood days, but then never tells her and is constantly just like, oh, I'm sure it'll work out with your husband, and like doing all these things to try to help her husband feel more confident in the marriage without him knowing, and yada. And so I'm curious to see how you would rate this purposeful miscommunication between lovers.
So like he's got a good reason, which is that she's already married, right?
Yeah. That's
Yeah.
what I hate miscommunication too, but it's like the situation that they're in. If he were to be like, I'm in love with you, like that puts her in such a terrible position of like, I'm
Yeah,
married and
I
we're
think
friends.
it's worse if they're like what like the part that really gets me is when they're dating, they're actively showing interest in each other, but they're both like no, but I can't actually tell that I like you, or I can't actually tell you what the big thing holding me back is for
Mm-hmm.
whatever reason. I'm like, if you just say it and be together, guys. Come on. In a situation like that where like she's already committed to somebody else and it's not like someone just to break up at the beginning of the book with to set things up.
Mm-hmm.
Like either he needs to tell her so that he can explain why he's stepping back from her life, or just hold it together. I don't know. I don't know where the book goes with this, but that's why I would be more okay with it, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
I read Rose in Chains, which is a repurposed Hermione fan fiction. So it was originally a Hermione fan fiction. It got scrubbed of any IP and repackaged. It's the first in a series, and it's kind of like semi Handmaid's Tale. Basically, it's like if Voldemort won the war, and then the women were like, well, I guess any men were too, but like people were basically like auctioned off to be slaves essentially. And a lot of the times it is in a sexual nature against their will. So there's a lot
Mm-hmm.
of like that. It was a good time.
Mm-hmm.
Besides that, I guess. But I mean, like, the Hermione stand-in is like treated much better because turns out Draco actually isn't that bad of a guy, type of thing. So
Mm-hmm.
I know that there's some controversy about it because it is related to the series that we shall not name, even though I was just kind of talking about it. And I'm conflicted about it because I've always been a fan fiction is like taking back stories, especially from authors that you don't want to associate with anymore. I think where it gets a little trickier is that this author and the author of The Irresistible Urge to Fall for Your Enemy, which is another Hermione repurposed fanfic, they're actually using the fact that it's based on Harry Potter as marketing.
Mm.
Mm.
And we know that certain author is very litigious when it comes to her IP. So theoretically, if she hasn't sued, she must be aware and okay with it, which also
Gets its own little.
makes it, yeah, yeah. So I got it from the library. I didn't buy it, so there is that. Yeah. So that that's definitely a tricky scenario.
Mm-hmm.
But I did have a fun time reading it. And I mean, most of the time I was just like in my mind kind of reverting it back to Harry Potter characters but,
Mm-hmm.
instead of like their new ones, but that's okay. I have read a lot of books recently, you guys. I'm sorry. I'll try to go a little
Same.
faster. I read A Sorceress Comes to Call by T. Kingfisher. That was very, very good. I really liked that. It's from the perspective of a teenage girl whose mother is very, very abusive and keeps her completely like sequestered from everyone else. And her mother is a sorceress. And if the daughter doesn't obey, then she will like basically cast like a compulsion on her to like make her obey. So
Oh
it's kind of
gosh.
like locked
Like
in.
Ella Enchanted.
Yeah, yeah. So basically, her mom's trying to like swindle this lord guy, I don't remember his title, to marry her so she can be rich. And so the daughter is kind of having to go along with it. And it was very good. I would consider it cozy. And then I read The Last Heir to the Blackwood Library. Highly recommend that. A woman in, like, I want to say the 20s. That sounds right. Maybe it was a little later than that. 20s through 50s, somewhere in there. I don't remember. She finds out that she is the heir to a manor and land and title that she didn't even know she was related to, but because she or her father and brother were killed in the war, she as a woman is allowed to get it. And basically there's something spooky going on with the library. She's starting to like forget things, and that was fun.
Fun. Air quotes.
What was this one called?
The Last Heir to the Blackwood Library. So yeah, there's kind of a fun. My biggest complaint about it is that like, but it's also I also get it. So basically, she starts to forget things, and so we're actually not shown some things that canonically happen because we're in her head and she doesn't remember those things. But
Mm.
because we didn't get to see them, the payoff at the end of a certain romance aspect falls kind of flat because we didn't get to see the buildup. We just are like,
Oh.
it happened and she forgot about it. And even though she doesn't really remember it, she still has those feelings.
Okay. Okay.
So that was, yeah. Um, and then I read the Ruinous Love trilogy, which is Butcher and Blackbird, Leather and Lark, and Scythe and Sparrow. What, Cassie?
I read the first. I was like, I recognize that title. Why do I recognize that title? I read the first one. I had such mixed feelings about
Overall, I had a good time.
it.
The sex scenes were fun in all of them. Yeah, I don't know. Like, I don't feel like I have strong feelings about them really one way or the other.
Yeah, I think like I thought that the romance part was really fun and enjoyable, and the serial killer part was graphic and uncomfortable.
Yeah, fair.
Which is kind of why I'm like, I want to see if Drew would like this.
Yeah.
I've got like a list of romance novels that I want to make him read, and I haven't like put one specific one forth for him to start with yet. But that's just one that I'm like, he loves murdering bad people in his mind.
Okay, I'm almost done, I promise. Okay, I read The 13th Child by Erin Craig, and that was amazing. 5 stars, highly recommend. It is a girl who is a 13th child, and her parents basically agree to give her to the god of death when she's born, but then he kind of like doesn't show up until I think her 13th birthday. That sounds
Is
right.
this the one by Patricia Reed
No,
or Aaron Craig?
Aaron Craig. Aaron A.
Okay.
Craig. Yes. I absolutely adored it. So basically, he gives her the gift of if she were to touch somebody, like I think specifically on their head, she can find out like how to heal them. So she becomes like this great healer. But there's a caveat that if they get like a skull type thing, then it means that they are meant to die because if she were to save them, then they would cause the deaths of like a bunch of other people. And so
Ah.
there's this moral quandary, and then it gets into like palace intrigue because she gets called to heal the king. And oh, it's very good. I
Okay, okay.
absolutely adored it. Absolutely adored it. Um, I read Gabriella and His Grace by Liana de la Rosa. It is the third in a trilogy of the what's the series called? One second. The Luna sisters. So basically, 3 sisters from Mexico. This is during the like around the Civil War era, but when Mexico was also going through its conflict with Spain and all of that. So basically, the 3 daughters are sent to London to A, keep them safe, but then also to try to garner some support for Mexico in this war. And then they all fall in love with different men and have these lovely historical romance moments. Mother Thing, which Cassie recommended, and I'm just kind of left like, what the fuck did I just read?
Yes.
I still don't know how I feel about it.
I don't know if I ever even reviewed it because I just didn't know how to put into words like
And I'm so confused, like what was in her head and what wasn't. But definitely track your trigger warnings. Check your trigger warnings for that one, because that gets dark as fuck. When the Wolf Comes Home, which is a horror about a 5-year-old boy who can make things happen in the real world based on his imagination, and especially when he's scared.
Mm.
So he makes really scary things happen, and he runs away from his dad because when his dad gets mad, he turns into like a monster because the kid kind of like
Made that.
imagines him as a monster. Yeah. And so he runs away, and this woman finds him, and so she's trying to help this kid, but then realizes what's going on, and they're trying to keep him away from his dad. But then it's like, but this kid is 5 and can't control all of yeah. It wasn't scary to me, but it was interesting. I almost cried. And then
Emotional.
I just yes, very emotional. This morning, I just finished The Teller of Small Fortunes by Julie Leong. Cassie, I think you would love this. Cozy fantasy. It's like found family, a cast of like different characters all coming together, and I really enjoyed it.
okie dokie.
And that's me.
Well, I definitely read as many books, but I'm not going to be recommending as many of them right now.
Yeah, I pretty much liked all the ones that I've read, or like at least like I was fine. Yeah.
Yeah, I liked most of the stuff, but since I'm in the cozy Christmas romance mood, I just want to spotlight a few things from
Okay.
that category. So the first one that I wanted to share, because it kind of fit perfectly for the vibe I was going for,
Hmm.
it's called A Cat Cafe Christmas by Cody Gary. Um, there are other cat cafe romance books that Libby didn't have.
By this author?
Not by this author.
Oh, okay.
So to distinguish, there's like a series of one that's like Cat Cafe Romance or something, but this one is a
Hmm.
Cat Cafe Christmas.
Mm.
And if you guys recall a while back when I was complaining about the Bookshop of Nina Hill or something like that.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And that's one of those books where the character, like in the setup, is like, I have ADHD, and that means I have all these problems. And then the rest of the book was about her being autistic.
The Bookish Life
Yes,
of
yes.
Nina Hill.
And like I get why that happens, but I find it incredibly frustrating. This one kind of also had that, but not as bad. And I don't know, maybe the ADHD was relevant in the book too. I wasn't really paying attention. Because there were cats, guys.
There were so many cats.
Priorities.
I really liked this one. It was very cozy. There was a real conflict. It wasn't the miscommunication trope.
Love that.
There's still the normal, like, oh, like, I think I like her, but she probably doesn't like me. And, oh, I think I like him, but he probably doesn't like me. Like, there's all that normal stuff.
Sure.
But that's not what, like, the conflict is at the end.
Mm-hmm.
And so I found it very satisfying and cozy and cute. And there's some sibling stuff that is part of the conflict that, I don't know if satisfying is the right word, because it was sad. It wasn't, like, super emotional or heavy. But if you're coming to the book with some sibling stuff to start with, you might like feel it a little bit more, I guess.
Got it. Okay. Like cathartic.
I don't know if cathartic is the right word, because like they resolve stuff, but it's kind of like, oh, I wish that my problems could be resolved like this. Or like,
yeah.
It's more a little bit like, I'm glad that some fake people are figuring things out since I
That's so
can't.
good for them.
Yeah. Okay.
And I'm a little bit jealous about it. Okay, so the next one that I want to recommend is nice and short. It's called The Mistletoe Motive by Chloe Lisa.
Is this the one that I read? That sounds familiar?
Yes, this is the one
Okay.
that you read, and you rated it very highly.
Yes, I read it like what, 3 years ago? 2023. So 2 years ago.
2 years ago.
Yes, I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, so I also really enjoyed it. So this one is one of those ones that's like billed as enemies to lovers. I've got two of these where it's described as enemies to lovers, but it's a very one-sided. One of them thinks they're enemies, and the other is like, "Why do you hate me?"
Yeah. But their personality is like standoffish enough that it's like the character like takes that as legitimately, yeah.
Yeah, so this one, we've got finally a character who's autistic and knows it.
Yay!
And this is another one where it felt pretty authentic and not like a caricature or a stereotype. And it was very upfront with like, these are the things I do to accommodate myself, and people aren't making me feel infantilized and all that. Like she felt like an adult.
Yes.
The part that I was less impressed by is that she's demisexual, which there's a lot that we'll talk about in the back half of this bonus episode about that. But demisexuality is like getting more mainstream, and I think romance authors are really latching onto it as a way to put asexual people in romance,
but still have sex
where
scenes.
there is sex.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying that this is no demisexual's experience, but it just really didn't feel like mine.
Sure.
So I don't know that the demisexuality was done very well here. But if you just kind of set that aside, still a very fun book. And honestly, I didn't even feel like it needed the ending. Like some of the ending, I was like, this is superfluous. But it's kind of a You've Got Mail type story, and it's very short and very quick and very fun and very cozy Christmas. It didn't really even have a third act breakup at all, which also made it very cozy and comforting, because I wasn't like waiting for them to like fall apart and have to come back. It was just like
waiting for the shoe to drop.
They're adults and they just talk about stuff. This is so refreshing.
Yep.
The third and I think last one that I want to recommend right now is called Take Me Home by Melanie Sweeney.
Okay.
This is the other one-sided enemies to lovers. But instead
Aw.
of it just being like the premise of the setup, it's like the story is actually like about that. And so that was very emotional. This one is, I wouldn't say it's heavy, but it's more of the like, I think Beach Read, Emily Henry style of like, this is a literary romance where they're going to get into all the stuff.
Got it.
So there was some family stuff in here, specifically with parents, and I just really liked how the romance developed. Even though the main character, there's two main characters, you get to see perspectives of the male and female character.
Okay.
The female character sucks a little bit, but like there's development, and I really liked the story, even though I didn't like her.
Sure. Is this a Christmas one?
This is a Christmas one.
Okay.
It's less about Christmas and more just about like there happen to be on like Christmas break.
Got it. Okay. Because it's like wedding. Okay.
Yeah, which also made it nice for reading when it's not actually Christmas yet.
Gotcha. Okay. Very nice.
Yeah, there was another book I tried to start a few weeks ago, and I was like, "Oh no, you're starting me out with the holiday decorations. I gotta put this down."
I'll wait. I'll wait for a few more
Yes,
weeks.
yes.
Yeah. I will say really quickly that I currently have checked out Mary and Nestlings by Nat Cassidy. He is the author who wrote When the Wolf Comes Home, and I'm excited to read those because the premise of When the Wolf Comes Home was very interesting. And then I just started Beautiful Ugly by Alice Feeney.
Mm,
Oh, also, I've been reading Foe by Ian Reid. Did we talk about this? I've been trying to read
maybe.
this book for like a month and a half, and it's just like nothing is happening. It's like a short book, but I just like, I don't really care. And it's like, but people are like, oh, this is one of my favorite horror books. And I'm like, it's like kind of unsettling, I guess, but like, unless I'm like more than two-thirds of the way through, and I'm like, something's gotta happen. But
I have a feeling that I would really like this book.
maybe. Yeah. And it's funny because I really liked I'm Thinking of Ending Things.
I
So it's not
loved I'm
like
Thinking of Ending
I
Things.
do like this author's style of writing, but I'm just like so fucking confused about like what's the purpose of writing this one. So maybe
Yeah.
maybe it'll throw a good twist at me or something and then it will make me rethink everything that's happened. But I've been trying to get through it for like a month and a half now. So anyways.
Yeah. I think it's fair to not like it or to not like everything an author does.
Yeah. But I also can't not finish a book, so
I've gotten a lot better about that.
it makes me feel like irrationally angry towards the book itself when it's like me and my problem.
There's something so satisfying though, like now that I've given myself permission of being like, nope, I am not putting myself through this anymore, and I'm gonna pick this other thing that I'm actually really excited about, and then I happen to love it because I read it while I was excited about
Yep, that is fair. Okay. I have talked enough.
it.
John, have you been reading?
I have not been reading. I have been watching
Okay.
a boatload of TV though. And so give me a
Ooh.
second here to just double check what I have been watching versus what I think I've been watching. Have I talked about the Gilded Age on here yet?
Yes.
Probably.
I
Oh
don't
my
know if when this
god.
comes out, but yes, you have mentioned it several times in
I
recordings.
love the Golden Age. It is beautiful. It is brilliant. I have gotten over the fact that Miriam and Mary are basically the exact same name. Uh, let's see. What else has John been watching lately? Oh, I've been getting into the 007 movies again. I don't know why I got sucked into that.
Mm.
Oh, how could I not think about this? I started watching Nobody Wants This.
What is that?
Okay, I was really kind of hoping you guys would know. So it's on Netflix. It is this brilliant TV show, and it has the woman
Oh,
from The
Kristen
Good
Bell.
Place. Yes, Kristen Bell in it. She
I
is a
love her.
podcaster with her sister, and they talk about shitty dates that they go on and sex lives and all these other things. And then at a
Hmm.
random dinner party, she kind of meets a rabbi who sweeps her off her feet. And so like it's this hilarious thing where he very much wants serious relationships and serious adult, like wants to find the love of his life, and she's just been bouncing from guy to guy and like has no intention of settling down with any of them. And then suddenly there's this man. And so it's like the title is Nobody Wants This. It really is Nobody Wants This. Everybody from the synagogue thinks that she is a what's the word that they like using for her? Not hussy. What's the Jewish word for it starts with a sh. It's not shysta, but it's
I couldn't tell you.
For what?
basically a non-Jewish woman who lures Jewish men away from the faith. Hold on. Gentile is a shiksa. There we go.
Not a word I knew.
Yeah. And so everybody in the church, including his parents, thinks that she's just this shiksa that's gonna corrupt him because he's a rabbi. Like, he's not just Jewish, he's a rabbi.
Sure.
And then everybody on her side is like, why are you dating a rabbi? Like, this is not you at all. And so it's them constantly struggling with, do they want to are they actually in love, and are they willing to commit for the love? And huge discussion about whether or not she's willing to convert to the faith, because Judaism is passed through the mother's line, not through the father's line, if you didn't know this.
I think I heard of that before.
Yeah. And so it's very good. I've been watching a lot of that, but watching a lot of movies. Not, you guys will definitely probably not enjoy this, but I've been watching a lot of old Family Guy. I've gotten back into old Family Guy.
That's actually one of my comfort shows. I love terrible adult animation, and I will fall asleep to it because I've seen all the episodes already. So I cycle through, right now I'm on Futurama again. But I cycle through Futurama, Family Guy, American Dad. I never really got into The Simpsons.
Yeah, neither did I.
Bob's Burgers. Bob's Burgers is great though. Like, I'm not ashamed to admit that one.
Bob's Burgers is the only one that I like, and I will tolerate Futurama.
I love
And
Futurama.
Hate
and
all
then
the others.
Disenchantment on Netflix, which is by Matt Groening. Love Disenchantment.
You know what's funny? That's one that I like that Drew doesn't.
Really?
Yeah.
I love that show. But yeah, I'm with you on Family Guy. Really quick, going back to Kristen Bell though, I highly recommend. It's a 1-season show on Netflix called The Woman in the House Across the Street from the Girl in the Window, which is
That's my TBR.
Yeah, it's
Or
a parody.
TBW?
TBW, yeah. It's like it's a satirical take on all like that wave of like, oh, unreliable narrator, like the woman on the train or the girl on the train, I can't remember which it is. And the woman in the window, and you know, like, it's an unreliable narrator, but they see something and nobody believes them. And it's so fucking funny. And it plays itself so serious, but it's just like so over the fucking top. And it's so funny. I highly recommend it.
I also enjoyed that one. I struggle going back to it because I'm not the most fond of what is the word that I want to use here? The gaslighting. Like, everyone gaslights her throughout the whole thing of like, you have all of these reasons for why we shouldn't believe it's that unreliable narrator, but everyone knows that they're an unreliable narrator, and so when it gets used against when that unreliability gets used against them is not my favorite. But no, getting to the end of it and finding out all of the different things that we find out, and oh yeah, you're absolutely right. That was a really good show. I'm mad that they never did the second season.
I know. There's so many things you could do with it.
Yes. And then I guess since we're
it's
here...
It's really funny, Cassie.
Yeah, no, it's like the end of the second season is there's a woman sitting next to her on the plane because she's an agoraphobe and never leaves the house. And so at the end of the first season, she finally gets past that and again, like, goes on a plane trip, and some woman is on the plane with her, but then disappears halfway through the flight. And it's like this whole not fucking again, but then they never did it again anyway.
Yeah. And not to like be like, well, actually, but she's not quite agoraphobic. She's too scared to be caught in the rain. So it's like, if like quick things out of the house are okay. But oh my God, the setup with her daughter
Mm.
And everything that happened with that is so fucking ridiculous. Cassie, if you don't want a spoiler, maybe take off your headphones for a second.
Just like
Spoiler.
wave at me
Okay,
when it's,
okay.
and you have to timestamp
I
this
will,
when we
I will.
post it.
Yes.
Cassie, please skip ahead about 40 seconds here.
Okay. So, spoiler, spoiler, spoiler. But the fact that it's take your daughter to work day and the husband like works with serial killers and then he takes her into the room with the serial killer.
That is just so
Please.
stupid. And like,
It's so absurd.
it's so bad. And then like the whole plot twist at the end of like the husband is the therapist and he's got her on
Yeah.
these insane antidepressants trying to just like throw medication at making her better because it was his fault. And
Yeah.
oh,
Yeah. The whole thing. It's just like, it's so absurd that it's hilarious. We're waving at Cassie. Okay,
yeah, it was
Cassie
good.
is back. Basically, Cassie, the TLDR spoiler-free version is so many things happen that are so absurd and are played so straight that it's just fucking hilarious.
It's insane.
It's so over the top and like just so wild. Anyways, anything else good you've been watching, John?
I've been rewatching the whatchamacallit, Maze Runner series.
Okay.
The later books or the later movies get a little books and movies get a little weirdo for the
Yeah.
that one.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
books get real weird starting at like book 2.
Yeah, I loved book 1 and then book 2 I'm like, what the fuck is going on?
They get I read that like 5-6 years ago now maybe. And I just
I read
remember,
it like a decade ago now.
well, it was one that I missed in
Oh,
high
okay.
school. Like I never got to it. So then in like grad school I was like, I may as well check these out now. And I just remember like every time I'm like, Drew, this like you would hate this book, Drew.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then we watched the first movie at his dad's house because his dad had it on, and I was like,
Mhm.
I feel like the movie actually does this better.
It's been a while since I've seen the movie, and I only ever watched the first one, so I couldn't tell you. But
Yes, I don't know anything about later movies either.
I talked about this in our episode that we just recorded, but because this is probably going to go up before that, I have been obsessed with the game Blueprints. It is on Xbox Game Pass. It's on Steam. I think John said for like $30. Totally worth it. Highly recommend it. It's a roguelike puzzle game where you are in a house that has 45 rooms and you are trying to get to room 46. And each time you open a door, you are given a choice from 3 randomly drawn, like floor plans essentially. And you got to make sure that you have enough gems. You got to make sure that you're still heading north towards the 46th room. Excuse me, you have to make sure that you have enough keys because some random doors are locked, and you have to make sure that you don't like get yourself into dead ends. So it is very good, a lot of fun. There's so much going on though that it actually kind of stresses me out a little bit. I have been cheating and looking up some things because I get to the point where I get so stressed out that it's like I'm not having fun right now because I have like there's so many threads for different mysteries where I'm like I just need to know like what things go together so I can work it out because like my brain is in a million different places. So, and I'm here to tell you that that's okay.
Absolutely okay.
That's okay.
Play games in the way that makes them fun for you.
Yes.
It's not all a competition with other gamers.
Yep, exactly. So.
I used to be one of those people when I was a kid. I would go onto the different game websites and like copy and paste the game walkthroughs into text files onto my thumb drive so that I could always have them with me in my room while I was
Love
like,
that.
yeah, I was that kid that always had the walkthroughs downloaded because I needed to have access to them when I needed access.
Yeah. I am 100%er, and so anytime I feel like I'm missing something, I look up the wiki and I'm like, what am I missing in this in this area of the game? Because I mean, just like with books, I'm a completionist. I can't not finish it until I get completely burnt out because I put like 100 hours into it and I'm like, I can't even touch it anymore. I have to be done. Okay, I think we're done with the recommendation corner.
Oh, no. Okay, I have a couple more TV shows that I'm going to throw out there.
Oh, sorry.
I recommend, I don't know if I've mentioned, I know I haven't mentioned this on the pod, I just want to throw these out there. There's a movie out there called Another Simple Favor, and it has Anna Kendrick in it.
And Blake Lively.
It's a sequel?
Yeah. So A Simple Favor is the first one. Another Simple Favor is the sequel.
You're blowing my mind right now. Hold on.
You're like, oh, it makes so much more sense.
Well, I mean,
Um,
sort of, but like also, I kind of watched the
does it
first
kind of
one.
stand alone?
It stood alone. It stood alone, and by the
Okay.
time I got to the end of it, I was just like, "This is hilarious. I don't need to know what happened before. This is just fucking hilarious."
So I will say, I don't know if the second one, I don't know if the author ever wrote a sequel, but the first one is based off of a book, and I did not care for the book, so I don't think I ever watched the movie, because the book was very ridiculous.
There is another movie. I have something to watch later. Yay!
Okay, I guess I give it 3 stars. But I read it back in 2021, and I have a feeling that I would be a lot harsher on it now than I was back
Mhm.
then.
Mhm.
But yes, so I did see that that had come out recently.
So another simple favor, and then there was another TV show. It was like a mini series I watched recently that I wanted to shout out because it was very good, and like I don't know how to describe it. It was a very good like mystery and kind of like power family dynamics, but at the same time
Okay.
not so extreme. Oh, The Perfect Couple.
Oh, okay, that's
Okay.
based on a book too, by
Mhm,
Geneva Rose.
Say the
mhm.
title sounds familiar. I'm
Yeah.
definitely seen the book cover around.
Is it by Geneva Rose? Maybe I'm mistaking. I might be thinking about The Perfect Marriage. You said The Perfect Couple.
They all have such similar titles these days.
I know it's impossible to keep track.
Ellen
Oh,
Hildebrand. Or no, wait, there's like 5 different books called The
Oh,
Perfect
there
Couple.
are so many.
There's Ruth Ware, Jackie Kabler, Jennifer Eccles.
Lisa Hall.
Oh dear.
here's
Yeah.
the other fun
Okay.
one. Is
I
I
was thinking
just
of The Perfect Marriage.
Yeah. Other fun one, I just finished the latest season of Only Murders in the Building. Oh my
I
gosh.
need to watch that.
We still don't know who poisoned Winnie. This has been
I
from
haven't watched
season
any of
one.
it.
And we still don't know who poisoned Winnie.
The Perfect Couple. Sorry, I'm looking this up to see if I can find out if it is based on a book and what book it's based on of, if so. Okay, it is based on the Ellen Hildebrand book. So there you go.
Yes. So, wonderful TV show recommendations, obviously, because I'm in school again. I don't know if I've talked about this on the pod. I have a rule for myself that I'm not allowed to read personal books. Like, audiobooks are fine, but actual physical reading, I'm not allowed to read personal books during the school semester or during the quarter because I have a really, really bad habit from my childhood of getting sucked into a book and just like one more chaptering myself despite the fact that I have homework due.
Yeah.
And so
Same.
if I don't make this rule for myself, I get in trouble with school and then I get in trouble with myself and I really want to finish the book, but I can't and it just kills me. And
Yep.
so
I feel yeah.
That rule makes a lot of sense. I actually ran into that problem with audiobook the other night. I think this might actually have been Take Me Home.
Okay.
There was a night where I couldn't sleep, and so I put it on, and I was like, this was a mistake because now I have to finish the book.
Yep.
And it's a work night.
I was
And
like that with both the Crimson Moth duology and the 13th Child. Those were both I stay up way too late. Like I usually have a rule of like once I get into bed, I won't listen to an audiobook because if I fall asleep during it, like I'm so lost as to like where I was in like the Libby like scrolly thing. And
I
so
use
I
the bookmark feature for that. So I at
see
least know
and
where I started. And then I've
yeah.
set a sleep timer for like 20 to 30 minutes, so I know I didn't get
Does
very
it
far.
have a sleep timer? Okay, today I learned.
Yes.
Anyways, usually but then also so on one side of the coin, I might fall asleep during it, but on the other side of the coin, if I'm listening or watching something new, my brain won't turn off because I'm too invested. So I will either fall asleep and
Yeah.
lose my spot or I will be up all night. So I typically have a rule against it, but there were a couple nights reading those books where I got into bed. I'm like, I'm not super tired. I'm just gonna listen for a little bit, and I'm like 3 hours later, and I'm like,
Oh,
shit.
yeah. See, that's why my usual rule is I have to pick like a specific kind of book that's like kind of cozy. It's interesting but not riveting. So like enough to like occupy my mind while I'm falling asleep, but not so much that it keeps me up interested.
Yeah.
And that was just one night where I was like, I'll just make some progress on this story because I'm at like kind of the climax right now. And
Mhm.
yeah,
Okay, quick, one more thing before we get into our educational portion of the episode. I am going to go watch Keeper tomorrow in theaters. It
Ooh.
is release weekend. It is a horror movie by Oz Perkins, who brought us Longlegs, The Blackcoat's Daughter, Gretel and Hansel, and I know I'm forgetting I'm the Pretty Thing That Lives in Your House, and The Monkey. So, I absolutely adored Longlegs. The trailer for this movie gives nothing about the plot away, and I am so fucking intrigued. And a whole bunch of horror directors are coming out being like, this is fucking terrifying. And I'm very scared, but I'm also very excited. And Tyler is coming, so I get to like hide in his shoulder.
Yes, I do remember from college that like we could watch scary stuff, but Abby needed somebody to like cling to.
Yeah, I'm like, "Ooh." So sometimes when I go with just my brother, it's a little awkward because my reaction is to like, ah! But I'm like, okay, sorry. Sorry.
I'm more used to being the one that other people hide behind.
Sure.
Because, like, I like horror, but it doesn't, like, scare me. And Drew mostly just hates jump scares.
That's
So,
me.
honestly, like, we should be watching more horror than we are. We just don't watch a lot of movies in general
Yeah.
because that takes up so much time.
Yeah, my biggest problem is jump scares because my anxiety is already keyed to like a 10. So like I get jump scared by like somebody opening a door around me like and then just it stresses me out so much and then it takes me forever to come back down. But anyways, let's pivot. We have a presentation by Cassie. A lecture.
Yeah, so I don't know whether to call this Linguistics Corner Asexuality Edition / Aromantic Edition or just like romance, like this is both Aromantic Asexual Corner and Linguistics Corner because we will be talking about some terminology, but in English, not Scottish Gaelic. And just so we're clear with expectations up front, I was drafting this crash course in my head last night at midnight as I was falling asleep. Therefore, I have not retained much of my pre-planned notes.
That's okay.
However, I did save some definitions on Pinterest last night, so I will be referring to those.
Perfect.
This isn't something I've actually talked about in depth on the pod. I just kind of reference it now and then. So to be more specific than just I'm Arrow Ace and happen to be married, I consider myself demisexual, which is why the reference to it in that book earlier was relevant, and some nebulous kind of aromantic that I don't really care to put a microlabel on. And obviously I'm married and I'm happy about it. So like, I think that's all I wanted to say about like my own personal labels before jumping in more. So I wanted to bring up like, where did this episode come from? I was out at one of our local bars on a Jackson date a few weeks ago, and I was telling him about Abby's son's birthday party when we were all at Abby's house and how nice it was to be around people that I'm really comfortable with and really love, and just kind of reflecting on the like strong girl sleepover vibes that we had.
We did. We had a massage train at one point.
Yes, and there was just like this emotional and physical intimacy that we were all sharing in Abby's house that you don't really get very much as an adult.
Mm-hmm.
And if you don't have that kind of like close friendship as a kid, this might not even be resonant for people to start with. But I think it's something that's really common with girls to have as kids, and it's something that we lose. And I think I'm going to talk a little bit more about that later as well.
Okay.
So anyhow, I was at the bar telling Jackson about this, and the bartender, she's like cleaning a glass or something.
Mm-hmm.
She's like literally like right in front of us 2 feet away. She's like, I can't help over here. I'm sorry, I'm not trying to eavesdrop. Have you heard of the term queerplatonic? And I think this is the first time I've ever heard someone use that word in the wild.
Sure.
Like not online, basically.
Mm-hmm.
It's not a term that you hear a lot outside of the Arrow Ace online community, which is definitely where I learned it from. I was deep in that space during late college grad school time. Like, I don't remember exactly when I found all this stuff and started identifying with it, but it's definitely something that I latched onto because it describes a lot of my experiences and feelings about friendships. Yeah, so I was just kind of surprised and delighted to hear someone in the real world not only know that word, but listen to me talking about you guys and use that word to describe how I was feeling. And when I shared that this was a new term for Abby.
Yeah. And you're like, what do you mean? How have I never talked about this with you? And I'm like, I don't know. I've never heard this term before. And it's been like, what, 5, 6 years since apparently you learned about it. So,
It's been so long. I think part of the issue is that like I learned about all this stuff and I don't have a lot of like outlets or reasons to be talking about aromanticism and asexuality.
sure.
And so it just doesn't come up. Or I feel like I have to do so much explaining to like get people to understand what it means
Mm-hmm.
that a lot of time is just I'm just going to like try to describe the relationship and not use big words.
Sure.
And so first I wanted to give some attempted definitions for the term. It's such a big word and it covers so many different kinds of things.
Like almost a catch-all, like, or
Yeah,
like an umbrella term.
it's kind of an umbrella term, kind of like how non-binary
Mm,
like means something, but it also covers so many different kinds of ways of having gender that
gotcha.
it's not like just 1/3 gender is non-binary. It's like
Mm-hmm.
so many other things. The whole point is it's not part of the two main categories that
Got
we
it.
use. So queer platonic is basically the same thing but for relationships.
Mm-hmm.
So I have a long definition and a short one. I'm going to do the long one first because it gives more context.
Okay.
And I'm just going to read it straight. Quote, queer platonic relationships do not have a set definition. The name comes from the idea that it is queering the platonic relationship, tailoring it to the individual relationship's own desires. It isn't necessarily romantic light, but it also isn't necessarily whatever definition you want to impose on it. The point of queering the platonic relationship is to break away from strict allonormative views on friendship, romance, and sex, not to make a new categorical box to fit in. And then allonormative here is basically like the like heteronormative is to being gay, like allonormative is to being aroace. So
Okay.
allonormative is like basically the expectation of pairing up
Romantic or
in a
sexual attraction.
yeah, yeah.
Okay.
So then the short definition by this Pinterest user that's simply called TU, they said, and I'll put a link to the post that they're commenting on. A queer platonic relationship is defined as a relationship of platonic nature, but can have the intensity and sometimes behavior exhibited in a romantic relationship. And again, this is also like none of those specific words are strictly always true.
Sure.
What I really liked about this person's explanation is pinning down the intensity part and the sometimes there's behavior that you might expect to associate with a romantic relationship, even a sexual relationship,
Mm-hmm.
because it's not about the behaviors, it's about like what the people in it are feeling and how they relate to each other.
Okay.
So like broadly, generally speaking, the specifics of any of this can always change and it's going to be different depending on what the people involved feel.
Sure.
And it's also not exclusive to Arrow Ace people. I also want to make that clear. Because Arrow Ace people aren't the only people who have friendships or like close connections with people.
What?
And so the next word that I want to share, the next term that's relevant here is ammonormativity or sometimes amatonormativity. And I'll have to look later for the link for who coined this term.
Mm-hmm.
But basically, that word references like it's like bigger than heteronormativity. So heteronormativity is the idea that like men and women are always attracted to each other, and that's how everyone should pair up. And like obviously,
Mm-hmm.
that's not how real people work. Like all not how all real people work. Ammonormativity is the idea that you have to pair up in a romantic sexual relationship at all, and that if you've heard of like the relationship escalator, that the point of getting close with
Is
a
marriage.
potential partner is that coupling and marriage and everything that's associated with it.
Okay.
And it's also about how that is supposed to be the most important relationship in your life.
Mm-hmm.
It's about how we prioritize romance and how that's just like, I don't like using the word glorified. That feels really big, but it's about how that's like the like assumed important part of your life is feeling romance, finding romance,
Mm-hmm.
locking in your your romance,
And putting that above everything else.
and putting that above everything else, even when you've already had, potentially very deep established friendships before. It's that
Mm-hmm.
idea that like when you get a new boyfriend, you forget about your friends,
Yeah.
like all of that stuff. Is what is being described under the phrase ammonormativity. So kind of feeling resistant to ammonormativity of something that I've felt my whole life. I didn't know any of this in high school when it would have been very helpful for understanding my relationships and my reactions to being interested in people or not. I don't know if there's a good segue here, but I wanted to share like my experience with how being on the Aro and Ace spectrums as a teenager and growing up, like how that shaped how I wanted my relationships to be.
Mm-hmm.
I had a set of very close female friends in middle and high school, and they kind of like were I don't know if I'd say the most important things in my life. But I was extremely attached to this group of friends,
Mm-hmm.
and they were fairly typical teenagers going through puberty, having crushes and attractions to people. And it kind of felt like, we were still the core. Like people would date and like break up and maybe be interested in someone else and break up. Like dating wasn't, it could feel really serious emotionally, but like no one was actually like looking for a long indefinite term partner yet.
Sure.
And so it still felt like
The priority
we
was friendship.
yeah. And we would, make jokes about like being in the retirement home together, and like we would be like, this little core family, and we'd still have our little relationships on the side or whatever. But like
Mm-hmm.
us together would like basically be the family.
Yeah.
And I don't know if I was the only one who thought that was like an actual possible outcome that we could have.
Mm.
But it definitely was like what I wanted. I wasn't out there like dreaming of a partner. I thought if a romantic person came along, that would be fun, and maybe, I don't know. I wasn't opposed to it, but I wasn't out there looking. I didn't really
Yeah.
care. I just thought like having your like three best friends live together was like the ideal
Like
life.
the ultimate goal.
Yeah. And I've now come to realize that basically this little fantasy was about having a queer platonic polycule.
Oh, very nice. Okay, yes.
Because that is basically how you describe a group of four very intimate friends who also have their romantic and sexual partners, but like are a unit unto themselves. um, and I've kind of been coming back to terms with this when I'm looking at the way that I'm making new friends or making new relationships and leaning on old ones. Like just because I am married again, like as we all know here. And that was also not a relationship I was looking for. It's one that I just came across. And I don't like regret doing the traditional lifestyle thing, but I do feel like I'm missing things that are like more in tune with what would make my life fulfilling. And there's just something about interacting with friends in ways that are seen as more intimate, or like from the outside might be perceived as romantic, or like you're having other kinds of attraction that aren't necessarily there, that lets you be more free with getting close to people and relying on them.
Mm-hmm.
And so I guess I kind of wanted to talk more about the difference between the term queer platonic in general and also specifically a queer platonic relationship. Sometimes I really hate the word relationship because it is doing too much work in too many contexts.
Mm-hmm.
Because it just means any kind of relationship you could literally have with anyone, good, bad, established, vague. But we also use it to mean dating.
Yes.
And so we kind of have the same issue with queer platonic and QPR. So any relationship where you are platonic but it's a little fuzzy can be queer platonic. But a queer platonic relationship is kind of like where you are recognizing specifically the ways in which you are queering the boundaries
Okay.
and like making an agreement to be that kind of partner with each other.
Okay.
So it's something that can kind of replace a romantic partner, like a QPP, a queer platonic partner, like can be your main life partner
Hmm.
that you just feel a little bit differently about, but still want to establish your kind of mundane life with.
Hmm.
They can also be a really close friend that you kind of rely on or are closer to than you would with like a different kind of. This is where I'm like, it's not just having a best friend,
Yeah.
but it's like having someone that you want to entwine your life with in some kind of way,
Mm.
or that you like are very consistently emotionally reliant on, or if you live close to each other, you can you can be reliant in ways that aren't just emotional. Um, Kara has one with one of her old roommates, and in that case, it's not romantic or sexual. It's just like we're agreeing that we're very important people and are going to be here for each other. But it can also be romantic and sexual, and then that's why people like question what like what how is this different from the norm if you like are like going on dates and like maybe sleep together sometimes, but it like
Hmm.
there's still a difference in yeah, and this is why it's really hard to talk about. But a queer platonic partner can also be, like in the case of Kara's old roommate, someone that is separate from your romantic life, and you can also still have a romantic and or sexual partner that is very important as well, and that you might do the more traditional life entangling with. Um, so I'm going to read the second half of this other original Pinterest text. The
Okay.
answer to what is a QPR is whatever you want it to be. Sometimes it is romance light. Sometimes it's a deeply committed friendship. Sometimes it's friends who have a sexual relationship. Sometimes it's based on an entirely different mode of attraction, which I didn't talk about at all. Sometimes it's fluid and impossible to put into words. It's whatever you want it to be. It's queer. So that is all the stuff that makes me feel queer, despite not being attracted to women, mostly, that I know of. There's some weird gender envy stuff that happens sometimes, and some other things that I'm like, is this a squish, or is this something else? A squish, another term here, is the platonic version of a crush.
Mm.
It's very similar, again, if we're talking about like intensity, it's very similar to the high of a crush. You want the person's attention, you want them to like you get all giggly when they do notice you, but like you don't want to do whatever your personal romance boundaries are.
Okay, I've definitely felt that before then.
I've definitely had squishes on both of you.
Aw. Oh my god, I think
And
that's the sweetest thing I've ever heard.
Abby, I literally wrote a whole story about you.
Okay, you did, and I loved it, and I appreciate that. But to hear you like go like to describe all of this, and then to like be like, oh yeah, and then this applies to you, like I'm gonna cry.
I don't think I've like explained this to the listeners before, but in college I wrote a story about a friendship breakup situation that happened after I had met Abby, and kind of the story was about that scenario and how much Abby meant to me in the wake of that. And apparently I wrote it with so much affection that the editor was waiting for a sapphic
Us
get
to
together
fall
at
in
the
love. Oh my gosh. I
end.
remember you telling me that, and I was just like, I can see where they came from. Like,
And like
like
that's
in
just
another
how
reality, that would make sense. Like, yeah, but
yeah. And like that's just how I feel about my close friends. Like I have
Mhm,
this is why I also hate the word romantic.
mhm,
Because I'm romantic in like the literary like romanticize your life sense.
mhm,
And then my like my romantic feelings for men is like a very small particular category that's much less frequent. Whereas I'm like out here romancing my friends all the time. I'm like, this is what life is about. Romancing your friends.
Is
And
me
that's,
buying books randomly just to make people happy romancing my friends? Because it kind of feels like it
I think it can be.
is. I love you guys so much. I just want to say that really quick. My child is banging on a table, so sorry if that comes through in the recording. But, um, like the fact that, even though you guys are far away, I mean, relatively, you're not that far away, but I mean, like, I
Far
don't get to
enough
see
away.
you, yeah, like all the time. Um, and then for both my baby shower and then the boys' birthday, I'm like, hey, like, I totally understand if you can't make it, but I love for you guys to be there. And then just like, it felt like almost immediately you guys are like, "Yep, we're making plans." Like that's
Yeah. I
just
mean, for me, this is the difference between like someone that I'm just friends with and someone that I like consider family. And I guess for
yeah.
me, that's a lot of what queer platonic stuff is. But like in general, for me, queer platonic is like these are the friends that they're not friends, like they legitimately are my family.
Yeah.
And so doing things for that is like it doesn't feel like, oh, I'm doing this thing to like help my friend feel good. It's like this is my family and I am obligated to be there for the important milestones and show up to support them.
Oh. Yeah.
Not obligated in the like, oh, I have to
Yeah.
go do this thing, but like
Yeah,
this
and
is
like but just on the flip side of like I have family, like aunts, uncles, cousins that live within like a 20-mile radius of me. I have people that I grew up with being friends with that have never come to one of my child's birthday parties or to my baby shower. And
Mhm.
like I have to like beg them to even respond like, "Hey, are you coming? Like please just tell me if you're coming." And it's usually not until like the day before or the day of like, "Oh, sorry, I'm not going to make it." And like the fact that I have friends who in like traditional thinking hierarchies, you would say
Mhm.
like family is above friends, right? But like I have friends who live hours away who will make the trip and do what it takes to get here. Like John didn't show up until like past midnight and then left at 3 a.m. the next day. Like the
Mhm.
fact that I
Shout
have
out to
somebody who,
John for
yes,
how many
love
hours on the
you.
train?
I love you so much, John.
I was gonna say it was a fun trip. It was an interesting trip. It's fun to discover that I could still do those things in my 30s. But at the same token, like I from the flip side of this, of like the single guy, because I'm obviously two of you are married, and I'm out here like living my single life. Have been living my single life for quite a while now, and so like it comes from that flip side of like I see myself as the gunkle. Like this is my opportunity to insert myself as the gunkle. Because I'm
Yes,
not going to have that
absolutely.
many opportunities with my own family. And so, yeah, it's like a wonderful little moment to be like, yeah, I'm just going to be the Gunkle John that's always going to be around, and everybody's going to call me Gunkle John, but no one's going to understand that I'm not actually related to you.
I will absolutely start referring to you as Gunkle John to the kids, so. But yeah, just like the fact that I have people willing to do something like that for me, and it's like, and not just for me, but for my children, like it just makes me really happy and like really warm and fuzzy, and it makes me cry sometimes, and I'm not gonna cry right now, but like, yeah, yeah.
I think the last thing I wanted to say is basically like explain my presence on this pod about a romance series.
Hey, a
um
romantasy, hey.
right, but we're not questioning why I'm into fantasy.
Yes, okay, yes, true.
Obviously I can only speak for myself, so that's all I'm going to do. But I think that being demisexual plays a big role here because basically demisexuality is where you do feel attractions under certain contexts, specifically when you've got a close emotional bond with someone. For
Hmm.
me, that's someone that I've already had a little bit of a crush on that
Hmm.
then becomes a kind of relationship. And like, what are romance books about if not putting you in the heads to get to know the characters who have an emotional bond with them?
Exactly.
And so then I don't mind. This like I do this is also why I get really irritated at the Insta Lust books, because I'm like, I am not invested yet. You gotta
Yeah.
convince me.
Yeah.
Once you've convinced me, I'm on board.
Yeah. And I feel like that's actually really similar to me. I don't know. I feel like I kind of mostly given up on like trying to find a label for myself. Not necessarily because I like feel like there isn't one, but just because I feel like a lot of fluidity, I think, where it a label one day might feel like it fits, but then like the next week I'm like, I don't know, So it's like
Mm-hmm.
I'm just kind of at a point where I'm like, I don't really know, but if I had to, like, I will say that like when Cassie and I first met, I did identify as ace as well. And I don't anymore. And I would say that I feel I'm more closely to demisexual. So I definitely feel that way like when I was talking about the one book earlier where it's like the romantic payoff was not there for me because I don't know the characters and how they interact with each other because it didn't show it on page.
Mm-hmm.
But I feel very much that way too, where it's like I can get really into romance novels and like really into the sexy scenes, as we have already seen a little taste of on this podcast, because I do feel like I am close to the characters and like emotionally invested in them.
Mm-hmm.
It's really funny to me because you two identify as Arrow Demi, and then I'm kind of on the opposite end of the spectrum here, where I am. This is going to get really personal for our audience really quick here, but I am
Yeah, because
very.
it hasn't been this episode yet.
Very hypersexual, and so like, and I don't know if this is partially me, this is partially gay man and gay community, but like it is very, very, very easy for me to get sexual with someone entirely off of physical physique. So, like, I was talking about this with my roommates, but I had someone come over the other night for some activities, and my understanding was I was going to lead them into my room, and we were just going to take up activities. And
Yep.
they tried to have all of these conversations with me, and I'm just sitting there like, I was not in the mood for... I'm not here for wine and dining. I am here for us to get naked. And...
Quick point of clarification. I don't identify as Arrow,
Okay.
but
Yeah, that's just me.
yes. Yeah.
And so it's very interesting because I come at it from the other side of things where it's so easy. In fact, it's the default for me to make that physical connection with someone. But, like, I don't typically look for the emotional connection with my romantic partners until after I've confirmed or at least worn out all of the sexual preferences that come up first.
Yeah. Yeah. And again, kind of going back to like my wibbly wobbliness of like labels, it's like I would say I'm demisexual, but I'm also bisexual, but I think I'm also like panromantic, but I don't like I haven't explored a lot into like
Yeah.
different things because like I fell in love young and I got married young and I am in a happy committed monogamous relationship, and so I don't feel the need to explore like, and I feel like I would need more confirmation of like, sorry, my child is yelling, but he's happy though. Yeah. So it's like I'm like I'm very happy with where I am in my life, but like if had things gone differently, I feel like that's where I would fit in, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm. That's where books and movies can come in.
Exactly.
John, your comment is really funny to me because literally last night, since I've been reading all of these romance books, I've been like really in the mood for like watching a movie. So last night I made Drew watch a mediocre holiday romance movie with me.
Hell yeah.
And we were talking about whether the male love interest was hot or not. And Drew was like, yeah, he's definitely good looking. And I'm like, he's fine. He's kind of generic. I don't know. I wouldn't like take a
I need to
second
know
look
who
at
you're
him.
talking about now.
I don't know, some random Hallmark act. Not even Hallmark. It was Netflix. I'll send it to you later. But it was just funny because basically for me, it's like I either need the story to be compelling enough that I'm also falling in love with this guy, then he's hot. And a lot of movies just fail at that. Second of all, I do still find some people hot. I just don't
Yeah.
want to sleep with them.
Like is the aesthetic attraction.
Yes, there is some strong aesthetic attraction happening sometimes. And then the third thing is that, like, sometimes it's the personality that makes someone hot to me.
Mm-hmm.
And this is especially where like other people will start to disagree with me about whether someone's attractive or not. But
Yep.
like a lot of the like if we're just talking about TV, because that's most people's visual reference for judging people's hotness,
Sure.
a lot of the people that I like are the like goofy ones. So they're like
Mm-hmm.
they're not the main character or like the lead actor. They're like
They're
kind
not
of the
like the
side
heartthrob
guys.
that you're supposed to be attracted to.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And so this came up with we watched A Knight's Tale before the Renaissance Fair. And I mean, I can objectively acknowledge that Heath Ledger was attractive.
Oh, I love Heath Ledger, I gotta say.
In this movie, at least in this movie, didn't do anything for me.
Okay.
Also, because he's so young. This movie is so old now that I look at Heath Ledger in this movie and I'm like, he's a baby.
Such
Can't
a
be attracted to
baby.
the baby.
I don't think I've ever seen A Knight's Tale.
But then Alan Tudyk in anything? I'm
See,
like, this guy is.
and that's really funny to me because I can go like I hate the Pauls. I absolutely hate Jake Paul and his brother, who I can't remember right now the name of. But like
Shit. Jake and fuck. Logan.
Logan, they are horrible monsters. I will also say that if someone like handed me a hotel room key and said Jake Paul is naked in that room and will have any sex that you want with him and promises not to open his mouth once, other than to make sexy noises, I would probably take the offer. Like, and so like, yeah, no, it's very interesting to me because part of me is like, yeah. Anyway,
Hello, Editing Cassie here, and we're using that term very loosely as I am only creating more content for Abby, not cutting any of it down.
Actual Editing Cassie here. Joke's on me.
I realized I had a few more thoughts that I forgot to share on this special bonus episode. And as we were running a little tight on time at the end, we could not just wait for me to remember before we had to go. So I thought I would share them now, and Abby will either very adeptly insert these bits into the pod or leave this all at the end so you get it as an aside too. We've been talking about a lot of different kinds of attraction in this episode and distinguishing between romantic and sexual and aesthetic got thrown out there, and there are plenty more if you want to go down that rabbit hole. But I wanted to explain that this is part of what's known as the split attraction model, or SAM, or SAM if you want to feel goofy about it. And basically, this is the distinguishing between different kinds of attraction, giving them different names, and talking about them as if you can experience them all independent from each other or in different combinations. And this is useful if that is how you experience your attractions. And in my case, it is, for the most part. However, certain attractions are very tied and linked to each other, and especially in the allonormative relationship structure, romantic and sexual attraction are often very linked and interchangeable when people talk about how they feel about someone. And for arrow and or ace people, they can also be very linked as far as not experiencing either, and so not knowing the difference, or still having romantic feelings attached to sex and sexuality, which can be true for a lot of demi people or ace people that do still feel romantic attraction and are interested in sex and just don't have the sexual attraction piece. It can still be a kind of physical expression of intimacy that is tied to romance. So I just wanted to clarify that we kind of are using that model in our discussion without naming it. Another thing that I wanted to say about QPRs that has been really important for me, especially, is that they kind of serve as the equivalent of like defining the relationship or a formal ritual of commitment for more platonic or nebulous relationships that we don't have in the same way that we have kind of a process for identifying romantic and sexual partners as boyfriend and girlfriend or our spouse, and the kind of public rituals that are involved with those things. And so, especially for people who don't have that kind of partner that society recognizes as your main pillar of support, or even as someone who does have that, it's a way to recognize the importance of really deep, close friendships and or formalize a lifestyle with someone who is kind of serving as your main person without being potentially romantically involved. As we said, it's all very nebulous and confusing. Even as it's deeply resonant for members of the Airways community, it definitely feels more important for us because it comes very naturally to us to focus on those kinds of relationships. But I also want to make very clear that it is not exclusive to Airways people. Anyone can feel complicated feelings or very deep, intense platonic bonds, and I think the world would be a lot better off if we acknowledged and celebrated those relationships so that people weren't looking to their romantic and sexual partner to satisfy all of their needs. And there's a rant here about the nuclear family model that we are going to skip over. If you want to go even deeper into a different rabbit hole, look into relationship anarchy. And the last thing that I wanted to bring up is something that I said that I would talk about later and then didn't. And that is about how girls, especially really young girls, often have very close bonds with other girls. It's kind of the best friends forever sentiment. And it's something that is taken very seriously by kids in a way that they're either expected to grow out of once they ostensibly would become interested in pursuing romantic and sexual relationships, and also something that's not really taken seriously on its own merit either. I think there's an impulse and an instinct there that kids, and especially girls, have when they do develop these really close bonds with each other that is then kind of just thrown to the wayside as we grow older.
So I don't think prioritizing friendships is that foreign or unintuitive of a concept.
All of these things are just ways of questioning the relationship hierarchy that we have and how to value other kinds of relationships more deeply and intentionally. And I think the queer platonic framework does that really well. That is all. Cheery.
Okay, well, I do gotta get going. So do we have any final
Yeah.
thoughts before I gotta vamoose?
Yes, I have one final thought, and this is a request for all authors out there.
Mm-hmm.
Please, instead of just having your side characters come out as Arrow or Ace to their friends in like an unimportant scene, can you write like a whole romance about a QPR, please?
That would be amazing. I love it. Agreed. Or just
That's all.
write QPR fan fiction about us, your favorite Fourth Wing podcast host. If that were to happen, we would absolutely read it on the pod, just saying.
I want you to be clear that you volunteered, which means that now
I
you're
did.
going to be the one that's going to be doing most of the reading.
That's okay. I will take it on happily. It is a labor of love. All right, so I think that's going to do it for us on this very special bonus episode today. So until the next regular episode, goodbye.
Bye.
Martian Light.
Thank you so much for listening to this episode of The Wingreaders. You can follow us on Instagram, TikTok, and Blue Sky at The Wingreaders, or you can send us an email at thewingreaders@gmail.com. It would mean the world to us for you to subscribe and rate us on Spotify or Apple Podcasts. New episodes drop every Tuesday. We'll see you next week for Chapter 17.